Hello everyone. Today I'm going to give you a presentation on major parts in powertrain for a Formula Student vehicle or FSAE vehicle. So my friend Mohit Savane has helped me a lot making the presentation and preparing for this. So let's start with it. So the main parts in engine will be the engine itself, obviously, the intake assembly, exhaust assembly, electronic assembly, fuel assembly, then we have lubrication assembly and cooling assembly. So we'll look at the details of all this, what all things come inside the intake assembly, what all things come inside the fuel assembly in more details in the subsequent presentation. Now I have skipped the things which are related to engine and engine mounts because the engine selection is a major topic and we can have a presentation separately for just about the engine and how the engine works. There is a separate video already available to see what and how the engine works, uh, specifically for CI engine, that is spark ignition engine and compression ignition engine. So now let's come to this. So this is the model of our vehicle. This is a complete model of our vehicle of 2016 vehicle. So here a few parts are skipped deliberately so as to not complex our model and we can have easy look at the model. So we have ignored the intake and exhaust pipes over here, but this is the representative engine for our vehicle, and this cuboidal box you see is a catch can. So we'll look at about the details in this presentation. So let's start with intake assembly. So the top part which you see over here is the air filter. So this is the air filter, and then we have a throttle assembly. You see a type of fastener which has been assembled. So I'll talk about those fastener also. Then we have a restrictor. So there is a rule on the restrictor that we said we can have a restrictor of only given diameter. That is to ensure that a constant mass flow rate is ensured from all the competitors of the competition. The one does not have an advantage or one is not at a disadvantage if he is going to use a larger or smaller diameter of the restrictor, so that the given constant diameter of 20 mm is the rule. Then we can have a plenum. So plenum is a type of air reservoir or air fuel mixture reservoir, and there is no rule to have a plenum compulsorily. We can have a plenum, we may not have a plenum. That is completely dependent on our designs. Then we have fuel injectors and runners. So the runners are connected from the plenum or they can be directly connected to the restrictor end, and the individual end of the runners goes to the intake side or the intake wall of my cylinder of the piston of the combustion chamber. So over here we can see that there are four ends of the runner, or there are four runners. That means that this assembly or this intake assembly is for a four-cylinder engine, and generally we'll have in FSI vehicles a single cylinder engine that is generally of some motorcycle. We have just taken out an engine from a motorcycle and we are using it to drive our vehicle, that is a four-wheeler. And we can have fuel injectors either at the end of the runner, or we can also have the fuel injector also attached to the throttle body itself. So the throttle body is something, the working of throttle body I'll explain in next video or next slides, but the injector or the fuel injector can be also attached to throttle body. So from here itself we can have air plus fuel mixtures in the restrictor and in the plenum, or we can have separately injecting fuel at the end of the runner in the air. So this is the model. So this is the air filter. Then we have throttle body, the restrictor part, and the plenum or the air reservoir. So this is the throttle. So how it is going to work? We have some intake and exhaust side for the for air, and then we will have some wall type of arrangement made inside the throttle body. So as we are going to push the pedal, that is the throttle pedal or the acceleration pedal by the driver, that is going to be mechanically actuated or electronically actuated, and the throttle body, the wall will open. So if we have a pipe something like this, and the wall inside will either open completely, so it can be something like this, and the pipe is like this, and then when we are going to actuate that or push a force on the throttle pedal, the wall can open as per the force and it can completely open and allow all the air. And we'll have a air filter. So here is the intake side, this can be the exhaust side, and the air filter inside has some wire mesh kind of arrangement, so that all the dust particles and particulate matter which is not allowed inside my combustion chamber all gets filtered and captured in the air filter. So after some time, we need to replace our air filter. We cannot continuously have the same air filter, and the same goes with the filter for oil, the filter for fuel also. We need to change the filter periodically. Now let's come to intake assembly and runners and fastener. So this can be the runners which are attached at the ends of runner, the fasteners which are end at the runners. So this should be at the both ends if there are parts in which we are going to manufacture our assembly. So they can be between our plenum and runner. They can be between our runner and the intake side of our cylinders. And they are to ensure that we are not going to lose any air which is inside our plenum. So all the air which should not leak and go inside our cylinder. Then this is the fastener which is for the air filter. So in the bottom side over here, the plate can be attached to the air filter and the throttle body, and on the top we can put the air filter, fix the air filter over there directly. Then we have nylon runner. So the runners can also be manufactured in parts. Over here it is single part which is made from nylon. We can manufacture by 3D printing, or conventional type when we can bend our pipes, or we can have bends separately available, straight pipes separately available. We can weld them. There can be multiple ways. But designing runners, the length of runner, diameter of runner is also very large topic of design and modeling. So the intake assembly. So now let's come to the main part of what we have to design. So in majorly we have to design intake manifold or the runner, restrictor and plenum. So this is an image from our previous vehicle. This is the air filter, the throttle body, the restrictor, the plenum. And since we are going to use a single cylinder engine, we need not have separately a runner. The end of plenum can directly be attached to the intake of my cylinder. So that's all. So this is one of the assembly. And this is an alternate design. So we have skipped the air filter and throttle body over here. They are not required for our modeling also. They can be skipped and directly attached at the end. So whatever CFD analysis we need to do, this is the part which is required to us. This is the runner and this is the end of the restrictor. So over here, that's the restrictor. Now let's come to exhaust assembly. So in the exhaust assembly, we have exhaust pipes or manifold. We have muffler, catalytic converter and resonator. These are four main parts. So let's look at this. So these are the exhaust assembly from a two-wheeler or motorcycle. So we generally see a exhaust pipe and a single assembly. So in that single assembly, we have arranged the muffler, catalytic converter and resonator, all three. The muffler is to reduce the sound. The catalytic converter is either to capture the harmful gas or convert the harmful gas, chemical harmful gas, into less harmful gases. So we can make from the nitric acid or nitrous oxide, which are the exhaust gases, which are in exhaust gases, to maybe simple nitrogen, the nitrogen which is present in air. So we are going to reduce the harmful effect. Then we have resonator. So that is to ensure that my whole exhaust pipes or exhaust assembly do not resonate, or the frequency of these pipes do not match with the frequency of the engine. If they are going to match, then we will have a very devastating result. Then let's come to exhaust assembly CAD model. So this shows that there are we have four cylinders and the four runners of the exhaust pipes are getting converged, and then we'll have the exhaust assembly which will have muffler, resonator and catalytic converter. And this is the image from our vehicles. So since we have single cylinder, this is the exhaust side. We have to design the runner. The length of the runner is only the main point of design, and we need to ensure that, so this is very important, we need to ensure that these are the starting points of our exhaust pipe or the runners. So we need to ensure that we should have a negative pressure, negative suction pressure or pressure below atm, so that we can easily suck out all the combusted gases inside our cylinder during the exhaust flow, and we can empty up the complete cylinder, so we can have we can suck in the fresh charge. And correspondingly in the intake side, at the end of the runner, we need to ensure that we have high pressure, so that when during the intake stroke, the high pressure is going to help in to push more and more air, fresh air inside our cylinder. So those are the two main points we need to take care and design my system accordingly. In the fuel system, we'll majorly have fuel tank, fuel pump and fuel filter. So generally fuel pump is not explicitly seen anywhere. They may be incorporated inside our engine itself. fuel tank is shown over here. So this is a fuel tank for our FSAE vehicle, for not for our, and in the fuel filter. So over here we can see a fuel pump, but they need not be explicitly available. So in our engine also it can be incorporated, and this is the mouth of our fuel tank, and this is the fuel tank. So there are no limitations on what shape of the fuel tank should be, or what size or what volume, minimum volume we should have. We need to just ensure that we have enough fuel to complete the endurance test of our dynamic event. So we made two fuel tank configurations, one which has no band and another which has two bands. So let me just explain that this is the driver compartment. Over here the seat will come. This is the firewall which I will explain, and this is the engine compartment. So the fuel tank is just below where the driver seat ends, and over here also this is the driver's side or the compartment. This is where the engine compartment is. Now let's come to cooling system. So in the cooling system, we majorly have radiator, hoses or pipes, and fan. So this is how a cooling system will look like. This is the radiator, over where we are going to the coolant is going to enter on the top, and it will be in the droplet form, and as the air passes through these fins, the droplet will get cooled up. They will captured over here, and again the coolant will again flow inside. There are multiple pipes so as to we can put coolant at various parts in our vehicle or engine. This is the intake, or where we can add the coolant. Coolant can be water cooled, or it can be specific coolants also, which are available in today's market. And there can be one pipe so as to drain all the coolant from my cooling system. And these pipes are also called as hoses. And we can explicitly have a fan to improve the force convection. So if we are going to locate my radiator at such a position there where the air is not directly available when the vehicle is going to move, then we need to put an air fan. So if we are going to place the radiator in such a way that there is already a ambient air available to it when the vehicle is going to move, then we need not put an extra fan. And if we are going to place it somewhere very locked up position where air is not directly available or ambient air, then we need to use an attached fan extra. So for radiator also we can have various configuration. I can put it in the front of vehicle, side, bottom or rear of the vehicle. So this is the image of our chassis from last year. So in the front we have an impact attenuator over where I can put a radiator. In the side also I can make two clamps and attach the radiator over there on either of the side. Then the bottom, if I am having enough ground clearance, I can place my radiator at the bottom also. And in the rear also I can place my radiator somewhere over here. This is not advised because over here the air which is going to come is going to be heated up because of it is passing close to engine. So this is not, generally I have seen a radiator which is clamped sidewards, and sidewards it is because maximum ambient cool air is available in the sidewards. In the front also it is available, but in that case we need to have long hose or pipes which will connect the coolant system in the engine and my radiator. So over there I need to have a long pipe system. Now let's come to the last part, which is the electronics part of my engine. So in the electronics I have dynamo, starter motor, battery, kill switch and ECU. So dynamo is what is going to convert the mechanical rotation of my engine to electrical power. The starter motor is the thing which is going to start my vehicle. So generally we have a kick start or a self start. So when the self start is there, we are just pressing that push button and the engine automatically starts. So what does it do? It goes to the starter motor. The starter motor is going to give you that initial kick to the engine where the piston starts reciprocating from the starter motor. And then due to the combustion, the cycle goes on. But the starter motor does the job of what we are providing by giving a manual kick to the engine. The battery is going to store the electrical power made by dynamo. Kill switches are safety equipments which I'll explain, and ECU is the unit which is going to control all the things which are related to fuel injectors and opening and closing of valve. So the ECU is going to control when we need to spray the fuel inside our air, and when to open and close the intake and exhaust valve. So that's the primary job. There can be multiple jobs where we can have temperature sensor, position sensors, etc., and make my system more complicated. But we can make it more and more complicated, but this is the primary function of ECU. And this is how a ECU will look like, where we can have multiple walls, multiple check switches, and all. The kill switches are the safety equipments, and what will they do? They can be placed at multiple locations, somewhere near the driver and somewhere which can be accessible outside the chassis. So some participant somewhere outside can also access them. So they are to ensure that if there is some flames or the engine gets heated up, the driver can immediately shut off the engine by pressing the kill switch, or someone from outside is also seeing that my flames are coming from the engine, they can also turn off my engine immediately. So they should be easily accessible, and this is how they look. So they'll just turn off the engine completely, but just by pressing one switch. Then we have catch cans, or they are also called oil breather box. So this is how it looks like. They are just going to capture all the air or fumes or oil which is coming from the engine, and it is going to filter out the oil. So we'll capture the oil over there inside my catch can, and whatever fumes which were there, they'll be cleaned and they'll be given out to the ambient. Then we have firewall. So it's an important part which is regarding safety. So this is where the engine is placed, and in the front there is a driver. So driver is at high risk. So the firewall is of given standards of material such that it is going to be fire resistant. So even if my engine is going to start burning and there are flames, the driver has enough time to come out of the driver compartment and leave its space. And the firewall will not save if the engine is going to burst and the fuel tank gets burned or it starts combusting. So in that case, it's completely out of control. But firewall will majorly save the driver if the engines gets heated up or the heat transfer doesn't occur from the engine compartment to the driver compartment. Kill switches, I have already explained the purpose and where they will be placed. So we'll end over here. Thank you, everyone.